After the conquest of Constantinople in 1453, Sultan Mehmed II turned his attention toward the two remaining Byzantine territories in Anatolia, Amasra, and Trebizond. This was because both of these states, in Anatolia, used to join hands with the Karmanades and the Banu Janda tribe, and constantly conspired against the Ottomans. On the other hand, Sultan Fatih had become fed up with the frequent rebellions of the Turkish tribes. Therefore, he now wanted to gather all the Turks present in Anatolia under the banner of the Ottoman Sultan. Control over the coast of the Black Sea had still not been achieved by the Ottomans, because most of the coastal strip was either in the possession of the Banu Janda or under Christian control. For this reason, it was considered extremely necessary to include these regions in the Ottoman Sultanate. The first place was the port of Amasra, which was a Byzantine territory. Alongside it in Anatolia was the Turkish tribe of Banu Jandur, which possessed a very powerful naval fleet and a large army. While at the end of this coastal strip was the region of Trebizond, which was the last remaining symbol of the Byzantine Empire. Sultan Mehmed II devised a plan to conquer this entire coastal strip of the Black Sea, and he first decided to conquer Amasra. In Amasra, most of the residents were Christian sea pirates, whose profession was looting in the Black Sea. In addition, they also used to give refuge to rebels fleeing from the Ottomans. Sultan Mehmed II tried many times to warn them, but they did not desist from their activities and continued to conspire against the Ottomans. Therefore, Sultan Mehmed II decided to conquer Amasra first. Accordingly, Sultan Fatih ordered Mahmud Pasha to set out toward Amasra from the sea with a fleet of 150 naval warships. During this time, the Sultan kept all his military operations secret. When the Ottoman naval fleet reached outside the port of Amasra, chaos broke out in the city. Because outside the city, Sultan Mehmed Fatih's army was standing, while from the sea, Mahmud Pasha stood, fully prepared to attack with his 150 naval warships. When the people of the city realized that they could neither face Sultan Mehmed Fatih nor his naval warships, they handed over the keys of the city to Sultan Mehmed Fatih in exchange for the protection of their lives and property, without offering any resistance. After the conquest, Amasra was included in the Balusinjak, and arrangements were completed for the defense of the fort. When Sultan Mehmed Fatih saw the beauty of this city, he was astonished. With a mixture of happiness and wonder, he said, "Is this truly the eye of the world?" The conquest of Amasra was an important step for the Ottomans in strengthening their rule over the coastal regions of the Black Sea. After this, Sultan Mehmed Fatih decided to include Banu Jandar as well into his sultanate. Although Banu Jandar was a Turkish tribe subordinate to the Ottoman Sultanate and paid taxes to Sultan Fatih, their leader Ismail Bey would conspire against the Ottoman Sultanate with Trebizond and the Western Christian world whenever he found the opportunity. Therefore, Sultan Mehmed Fatih decided to conquer the Banu Janda tribe and include it in the Ottoman Sultanate as well. Sultan Fatih made a remarkable plan to conquer this tribe without bloodshed. Instead of war, the Sultan chose a political and diplomatic path. According to historical sources, the last ruler of the Janda Beylik, Ismaili Bey, accepted the power of Sultan Mehmed II. The fortress of Sinope was extremely important for the Ottomans. Sultan Mehmed II expressed his desire to obtain it and said that if you hand over the fortress to us voluntarily, I will grant you the rank of Philopapolis. But if you refuse, then I will immediately come with my army. Despite the strong fortifications and artillery of Sinope, Ismail Bey submitted before Sultan Fatih and handed over his beylik to the Ottomans. Sultan Fatih granted Ismail Bey, son of Isfandiar, the cities of Anagil and Yarhisar. As a settlement, his son, Hazen Bey, was appointed governor of Balu. Sultan Mehmed Fatih conquered Amasra and made the state of the Isfandirates a part of the Ottoman Sultanate without the martyrdom of even a single soldier. Now, Sultan Fatih's next target was the Sultanate of Trebizond. When the Paleologos dynasty practically came to an end, at that time an ancient and famous Roman imperial family, the Komnenoi, was ruling from Trebizond in a remote region of eastern Anatolia. Viewers should note that this dynasty had come to power in 1081 and had once ruled the Byzantine Empire until in 1185. After the tyrannical rule of Emperor Andronikos I, it was deposed. Then, in the period leading up to the Fourth Crusade of 1204, the grandsons of the deposed emperor established a state for themselves in the eastern part of Anatolia, with Trebizond as its capital. From here, the Komnenian dynasty continued its rule for the next 2 centuries. During the reign of Emperor Alexios III, from 1349 to 1390, this state entered its golden age, because Trebizond became an important center of Black Sea trade and also an outstanding masterpiece of Byzantine architecture. However, this prosperity began to decline after the death of Alexios III in 1390. During this same period, Sultan Bayezid I launched rapid military campaigns against the local Turkish Emirates in Anatolia. By the end of that century, it seemed that the Ottoman armies would wipe Trebizond off the map. But the crushing defeat of the Ottomans at the hands of Timur in the Battle of Ankara in 1402 postponed this danger for nearly 50 years. During this respite, the rulers of Trebizond adopted a diplomatic strategy whereby imperial princesses were married into the ruling families of various powerful Turkish Emirates in order to reduce the threat of an Ottoman attack and strengthen relations with powerful allies. Among these allies were the powerful rulers of the Karakoyunlu and later the Yakub, including Sultan Yusan Hasan. In 1456, the Ottomans launched a dangerous raid on Trebizond. In this raid, approximately 200 Pontic Greeks were captured, and ransom was extracted from them. After this incident, John IV, the ruler of Trebizond, formally became a tributary of the Ottoman Sultan. That is, he accepted obedience to Sultan Mehmed II and was obligated to pay 3,000 gold coins annually as tribute. However, at the same time, he secretly continued preparing a military alliance that included Karim, the Banu Jandar, the Ayyubids, and the Christian nobles of Georgia. This plan remained incomplete when John IV died in 1460, and power passed to his 9-year-old nephew Alexios V. But a few months later, the emperor's uncle David seized the throne and imprisoned Alexios. Meanwhile, the Sultanate of Trebizond had not paid tribute for several years, and the country was suffering from severe political chaos. Therefore, in 1461, Sultan Mehmed II decided to launch a campaign against Trebizond. For this purpose, the Sultan assembled more than 500 troops in Bursa and prepared more than 100 naval warships in Constantinople. After all these military preparations, no king or vizier knew whom Sultan Fatih intended to attack. Some said that this campaign was being prepared against Karaman or the Mamluks. When a pasha dared to ask Sultan Fatih the purpose of these military preparations, Sultan Mehmed Fatih gave an excellent answer, saying, "If even a single hair of my beard learns of my plan, I will uproot it and burn it." When Sultan Fatih reached Ankara, he announced that they were going to conquer the last remaining symbol of the Byzantine Empire in Anatolia. From there, Sultan Fatih marched toward the Koyunlu territory, and soon the Ottoman army reached Orz, where Ottoman soldiers attacked the border regions of Uzun-Hasan. As a result, the area was devastated, and Uzun-Hasan was forced to make peace immediately. Now the Emperor of Trebizond was left alone. In July 1461, Sultan Fatih began the siege of Trebizond. When the Turks intensified the siege, the Emperor of Trebizond panicked and could not endure the severity of the blockade. Soon, on Sultan Fatih's promise that he would be granted an estate in the Balkans, he surrendered the city of Trebizond without bloodshed, laid down his arms, and handed over the city to the Turks. After this conquest, the emperor and his family were transferred to Constantinople along with all their wealth, and thus the Sultanate of Trebizond officially came to an end. In 1463, the emperor, his 3 sons, and the former emperor Alexios V were killed in captivity on the orders of Sultan Fatih, while the emperor's daughter Anna was taken into the sultan's harem.